A WWE Hall of Famer is arrested yet again. Vince McMahon actually doing an interview that's not on a WWE network affiliate. We talk stereotypes, and it's our 1 year anniversary. We're officially 1 year old. 1 year old, out of diapers and into big boy pants.
We're big boy pants, damn it.
Yeah, this is just another effing podcast. Yeah, SOBs. Hit the music. Coming to you live from the effing Worldwide Media Studios, located in parts unknown. It's just another effing podcast. Holy smackaroos. We are officially 1 year old. This is our 1 year anniversary episode.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
I don't. What is where you get a 1 year old? You know what? You get a Touch Brothers T-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees /effing wrestling. Shout out to my TDS brothers, the Touch Brothers.
Okay, so officially last week, we missed it. We weren't on the ball. Officially last week was our 1 year anniversary when it appeared in my timeline, and Dallas was on the show 1 year ago.
Yeah,
so
and we got him back. The sweet dulcet tones that you're going to hear from the Black Box is in fact the general manager of AFW. People, it's
hello,
Dally.
people. It's me, GM Diali.
And we got some people watching today. We got Joseph Graham, our usual.
Yep.
We got
always willing to pitch in an opinion or 12. Hey, thank you, Justin, for the birthday wishes.
I love you, Justin.
And we also got the Magic Man.
So we got a lot to go through. We got some news. Thank you, Maddie Hawkins. Birthdays everywhere. Absolutely. We got a plethora of stuff. We got some news, and then we're going to talk about our main event. But I can't see Dallas, and nobody can see Dallas. He's in an undisclosed location.
A face right here.
Yeah, he's in the janitorial closet at effing Worldwide Media Studios, located in parts unknown. He's locked in there so that the Russian hitmen that are after all of us, thanks to me posting Natalia Markova's brunette picture instead of a blonde. So we are trying to protect Dally as the best that we can. So he's at an undisclosed location. The three of us are never in the same location.
In parts unknown.
Yeah, in parts unknown. So it could be Timbuktu or Madagascar. It could be the Ukraine. We don't know. We don't know where he is. He moves.
It's not
every 3 days he's moving. Every 3 days. So, well, let's go ahead and he's pretending he's money maker. Maddie, you're right. You're damn right he is. So, we like to start off with a dark match. So let's start with the news. It is a dark day for WWE Hall of Famer Sonny. Tammy Sitch was arrested again. If you're keeping track, I believe this is like 14, and it's second time this year. Driving on a suspended license, DUI, careless driving, not wearing a seatbelt. If there's a ticket you can get for driving, she got them all. The list is huge. It took me about a day and a half to go through the list of charges against her. So, she's got issues. We know she does. You would think the WWE would reach out to her and put her in some rehab, don't you?
I think she went through WWE rehab before. I think she's exhausted it pretty much.
Yeah, she
Mhm.
chewed that out and spit it out. Is that what we're saying? What do you think, Dally?
How long ago was that she went to rehab?
It had to
It
be a
was
couple
quite a
years
few
ago.
years ago.
So I don't see them really reaching out and like for somebody who was there like 30 years ago. Like she hasn't really been much in the wrestling business. So
Yeah, she's doing a lot of adult content. She's got an OnlyFans. She's doing a lot of porn.
Aaron subscribed to that.
Yeah, Aaron said I bought Aaron a subscription for his birthday 2 years ago.
Oh, that's so nice of you.
What can I say? It's the gift that keeps on giving. It's like jam of the year.
Oh, damn it. Oh,
Vince
damn it.
McMahon will appear on the Pat McAfee show, completely unrelated to WWE. Pat McAfee, of course, is employed by the WWE, but he does have his own show on Fox Sports, and he will be appearing. So is this going to be a work interview or is this going to be a shoot interview? What are we expecting from Pat McAfee?
I think this will be a very, very censored Vince McMahon interview. This is what you're gonna say, bud.
Mhm.
Pow.
Yeah. It was me, Austin. It was me all the time. What do you think, Dally? You going to tune in to listen to Vince shoot the shit with Pat McAfee?
I don't think I'll watch, but I think that Vince is going to have Austin Theory represent him at WrestleMania.
Oh, so kind of like
versus Pat McAfee.
yeah, kind of like when he fought Donald Trump, hair versus hair match.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Oh, you were there for that?
Yeah,
Not bad. Not bad at all. It's going to be Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm going to put my 2 cents in with this and say, oh, dear God, do not put the belt on Johnny Knoxville. I just, the IC title has lost its luster, I would say, over the last 4 or 5 years. It was the workman's, it was the workers' championship. It was the guy in the back who was respected for the work he did. Bret Hart, Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels. The list goes on and on. These great champions. We talked about it. We had an IC episode. Not anything against Sami Zayn or Shinsuke Nakamura, but the belt's not the same. What do you guys think about this Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville row at WrestleMania?
I think it's a total joke, and they're making a mockery of the championship and the lineage of it, and having some. He's not even trained to be a wrestler. Bad Bunny can actually wrestle.
Oh yeah, Bad Bunny's awesome.
Yeah, but Johnny Knoxville cannot.
Yeah, it's gonna be another David Arquette.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong, David Arquette. I've met him once at a signing, and he's actually very passionate about the industry. Whether he's good or not and deserve to get the WCW title is up for debate.
If you haven't seen The Redemption of David Arquette, it is such a great document. I'm not sure if that's the name, but I can't.
It's The Redemption of or something like that. Yeah.
It's such a great documentary. Oh man, and he actually pays the dues and knows how to do it properly now.
Yeah, and Nick Gage almost killed him. So, go Nick Gage. He's like the new homicide for the modern day. The Calgary Hitmen are going to have showed off their new Bret the Hitman Hart themed jersey. And at one time, Bret Hart was actually a part of the ownership of the Calgary Hitmen. He has since sold off those shares and somebody else controls it, but it's pink. It's got black fire coming up it, and the Hitman logo has his shades. As a hockey nut and a hockey jersey collector, this is high on my list of must-haves. Canada Dry, you gonna drop the $1.39 and get it?
My problem with hockey is I love Bret Hart, but I cannot cheer for anything Calgary. He touched it. So sorry, Brett.
It's like Red Sox fans having to root for the Yankees. It just does not happen.
Yeah.
I don't get it because I like football and like I just got into football and I like people on the Bengals team because they're hot. But I also like other teams because they're hot. I don't get it. You just need to let it go, Aaron.
If
Just
you
let it
are
go.
if you're just watching this and you're not aware, Dallas is into men.
How dare you?
Oh my
And
God!
also into women sometimes.
Sometimes
That's true.
sometimes.
I have heard
mostly
him.
men.
Yeah. Everyone love everyone. That's what it comes down
Yeah.
to. Everyone love everyone.
Yeah.
Tony Khan apparently has another big announcement this Wednesday. This is the go home show before we get to Revolution. So let's put our speculation hats on. Who do we think the big announcement is?
I think the announcement is that he has announcement when the announcement of the announcement is coming at AEW Revolution.
I have a feeling it's not going to be as big as he's making it out to be.
I think that what it actually could be is a cross-branded pay-per-view. Is I'm hoping for.
That would be balls out awesome. Whether it's Impact, NWA, or New Japan, or all of them.
It'd be the best if it was all of them, just everyone.
Yeah,
everyone represented.
And they run it at Madison Square Garden. How great would that be? Talk about rubbing it in Vince's eye right there. It's like, ah. Dally, you're a huge AEW nut. What do you think this announcement is going to be?
I signed an NDA, so I cannot disclose.
Oh.
I'm not kidding. He actually just signed me as general manager of AEW.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I agree with Aaron on that. Or it could be like he could have purchased ROH, Ring of Honor.
It's very well possible because Gresham.
But what would be the purpose of that? To like for AEW, what would be the purpose?
Maybe
for him
to like
own two, like
introduce the
that doesn't make
trios.
sense to me.
Maybe to like introduce the trios titles and because they have a lineage of that. Maybe they would have those belts become the AEW 6-man titles.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Gresham was backstage last week at Dynamite. He is the Ring of Honor World's Heavyweight Champion, or he was until he got released. He was backstage. There was no talk as to whether he was signing or he was just hanging out. He does have his own promotion called Terminus. So
the one good thing about buying ROH is you own the libraries.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, you own the catalog, which is a
so
huge.
That would be huge.
It's 20 years. 20 years of that catalog is up for grabs. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
all right,
but
Cesaro.
I don't know how I feel about that.
So we got some news on Cesaro. So Cesaro's contract was up. The expectation was he would re-sign with WWE, but he said, not so fast. He did not resign with WWE. He is a free agent, available to sign with anyone as of a couple days ago. There's no 90-day wait period. The rumor is that he wanted a lot more money and a bigger push, and Vince just did not see. They just did not see that in him. So I'm not surprised. I think he ends up possibly at Impact. I don't know if there's a home for him in AEW, which is a shame because, as Mick Foley said on a tweet a couple of days ago, he's probably one of the best wrestlers that's wrestling today. He's at least in the top 10 conversation. So, I mean, what do you guys think about Cesaro not signing?
I think it's huge for AEW.
Yeah,
I don't see him going anywhere. Oh, sorry, just had a cough there. I don't see him going anywhere but AEW. I'm not sure if he shows up at Revolution, but
I think it'll be interesting. I mean, worst case scenario, they can let him wrestle some indie stuff and then bring him in at Double or Nothing as the Joker for the Casino Battle Royale.
What I think was more surprising this week was Brian Cage being renewed for another year.
Yeah. Brian Cage has re-signed with AEW for another year. Speaking of re-signs, AJ Styles has signed a multi-million-dollar, multi-year deal. It looks like for at least the foreseeable future, he's going to end his career in WWE. All signs point that he's pretty happy with being in WWE. He doesn't need belts. He doesn't need pushes. He just enjoys doing what he's doing. I'm kind of disappointed. I would love to have seen him go back to Ring of Honor, go back to New Japan, possibly come into AEW. But he's a big fish he'd be a big fish in a small pond if he went to AEW. As long as he's happy, that's all that matters. What do you guys think about AJ?
Well, as for AJ, I think what he's doing, he's got a few bumps left on his card.
Yeah.
And what he's doing is he's maximizing dollar value for when he retires. And I don't blame him. He's got a future after wrestling. And at this point, I think it's just about the money.
Yeah. Oh, it's a money grab. That's for sure. I mean, now does he get another title run in the future, or do we think he kind of stays at putting the young talent over?
I don't think he cares at this point.
I don't think he'll have a title run again, unless it's like U.S. title.
Yeah, I mean, I think he might have another title run.
If Vince is investing the money on AJ,
yeah,
I'm sure there's a title run in the cards.
I'm sure there is too. Absolutely. We had a debut at Dynamite. Buddy Matthews debuts at Dynamite, and just when it looked like we were going to see Buddy Matthews versus Malachi Black and that carryover of that feud from WWE, not so fast, my friend. He is aligned with House of Black. He attacked and went after what's his face. And he aligned with House of Black. And I for one enjoy it because I love to see a dark, insidious version of Buddy Matthews for sure.
Oh my goodness. This guy was jacked.
Oh my God, he was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could see like every single muscle that he has in his body just bulging. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Dallas, get your mind out of the gutter. Wow, like he took that time off and he just trained and I love Buddy Matthews. He's a great wrestler. So
yeah, fantastic. What do you think, Dallas, on Buddy Matthews doing the debut?
I think it was cool. I would like to see him get tattoos.
Maybe they can give him some semi-permanent tattoos like hentai.
Maybe he can replace the neck tattoo of Cody leaving AEW. Like someone needs that.
That'd be so sweet. He can get the Cody tattoo with the big circle and the line through it like the Ghostbusters.
Oh my.
Or as we call it, the IWGP World's Heavyweight Championship icon. Speaking of Buddy Matthews and House of Black, it looks like the trios match between House of Black and Death Triangle at Revolution might be in jeopardy. Ray Phoenix is still hurt. There's really no timetable set for when he's going to return. So at this point, the only speculation is it's either he shows up at Revolution and does very limited amount of work, or they just scrap that and move it towards either a row of programming through Double or Nothing. Would you guys like to see, even if he's in a smaller, not so much physical role, would you like to see this trios match?
Go ahead, Dallas.
Not really. I'd like to see it more when Phoenix can go full force.
Yeah.
I can wait.
Well, don't forget, he's still booked for House of Glory on March 11th with his brother.
That's true.
I guess
if he shows, it's an indie event.
Well, I guess they might replace him with Pac or something. You never know.
Yeah.
Because, they want to get those people in the door, so they're not going to say he's injured. They want to promise him and give him someone else. That's what they do in wrestling. It's cardi shit.
Wrestling is very unpredictable. That's why they always say at the bottom, card is subject to change because you just don't know. I've gone to plenty of house shows and plenty of indie shows where this person was advertised and it's usually an icon or a legend. and they don't show up.
Well, do you remember when Tay Conte gave Natalia a concussion?
Yeah.
So she was booked for that Shine card, even though she had a concussion. They knew she wasn't going to go on. They still advertised her.
Yeah.
And they just wrote her out of the story in the match. That's what they do.
Yeah. Card is subject to change. This should be the new tagline for our show.
Card is subject to change.
Welcome to Just Another Different Podcast. Card is subject to change. Well, that's our news. We have some good stuff, but let's get to the the meat, the juice, the prime rib, if you will. Let's go ahead and get to our main event.
Gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
I just want to let you know that we got Buffer to do that for us live. Okay. We dropped serious cash to get Buffer to do it. You all right, Aaron?
Just messing with you. I thought you would think the screen is frozen, but
I just had to double check and make sure. Great, we got a frozen screen. Fantastic. Welcome to the internet, people.
I did that pretty good, eh?
That was really good. You did not move at all. I was like, oh shit, we're frozen. Damn it. But the former head mime of Canada, Canada Dry, fooled us all. Shame. Fooling your other host like that. The hell you thinking?
I'm sorry, guys.
So, anyways, we were kind of figuring out what we wanted to do for the 1 year anniversary.
Great idea.
Yeah, we gave it to Dally, and Dally said, "Hey, we should talk about stereotypes because it's still happening. Like this isn't something that ended when everybody became woke. It's still happening, and we're still dealing with it." And so we thought, well, because stereotypes for the most part have gone hand in hand with professional wrestling, and we're talking for decades. Any way that they can insult and marginalize a set of people, making them usually heels in the long run. This was most of the time when, and still pro wrestling's focus group is always going to be middle America, the lower middle income, middle America, middle income, middle class, lower class, white males, straight. That's their go-to. That's the people that buy tickets, buy the pay-per-views, go to the shows. We've all experienced it. And so that's the common denominator that they have to really appease to, because that's the bread and butter. You don't go after them, you're going to lose money and you're not going to be successful, So I thought, well, let's talk about, stereotypes and kind of go through the bigger ones. And the first one is women. We've talked about women. We've had women-centric episodes. We had one last week when we listed our 10 greatest female wrestlers of all time. And the word we often,
it was hard to come up with the list properly because they never got to shine like the male counterpart.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, are they really this good? Because or are they really this bad? Like a lot of wrestlers don't get the opportunity because they're women to shine like the men. Like you have a 4-minute match with Liv Morgan, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's still a parody because in all honesty, you have men's matches going on average, and this is average, about 8 to 8.5 minutes. Most women's matches, and especially in WWE, are averaging about 3.5 to 4 minutes. That's a huge disparity when you're dealing with equality, among the sexes and among the genders, because they're not getting that fair share. Now, the sad part is we're celebrating when, for example, Britt Baker, Britt and Thunder Rosa main evented Dynamite with their unsanctioned match, and everybody was like, oh, this is great, they're main eventing. It should not come down to, oh, well, it's women, let's make a big deal about it. two great wrestlers stepped in that ring, and two great wrestlers beat the ever living hell out of each other, regardless of what plumbing they have downstairs. That's what it's all about. It's about the wrestling. So let's talk about women, and then we'll talk about. We got Natalia Markova to give us a quote earlier. So where do we think,
Well, even Trish Stratus and Lita, like, they were overly sexualized.
Yeah.
Before they could show what they could do.
Absolutely.
And I remember they had an amazing match, and one of the bigger male wrestlers was like, "How am I supposed to follow that?" And
Yeah.
Chris Jericho said, "I don't know. You better just step up, buddy."
Yeah. Well, and speaking of Jericho had his podcast this Friday. He had Medusa. He had Jazz, two of the women that were on our list of top 10 women of all time. And he had Britt Baker. And Jazz brought up a very valid point. She wanted to go get breast augmentation because that seemed to be where they were going. And everybody in the back told her, no, don't do it. Stick to what works with you. And she mentioned it may have cost her a chance to be a multi-time women's champion because she went out there and kicked ass. She didn't go out there to show off her ass. And that's a huge difference that, that reason why she wasn't, a 14-time women's champion,
I feel Vince definitely booked with his hormones. And like he would, even if they weren't very talented, he would like give title rings to them.
Yeah.
Just because, or make like important storylines for them. Like Dawn Marie and Al Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, not necessarily with his hormones, but he's thinking, this is good shit. This is gonna make the guys drool. Like,
Because it turns him on.
They're coming here for titties. That's and it's sad because a lot of these stereotypes are still perpetrated by the WWE as we speak,
And you had Jerry Lawler every single episode.
Puppies!
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 Like, come on.
Puppies! He's a hound. He's got a reputation for being quite the hound. You're right. WCW was pretty bad as well.
Well, they were just trying to compete.
Yeah, and really, honestly, I mean, like that, the Nitro Girls, and you had Kimberly, and you had
they didn't use a lot of G strings though on WCW Nitro.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, they're over sexualized. They're hyper sexualized. I think they're more than over sexualized. And they're often marginalized. And I think that's, I mean, there's exceptions to the rule, and we're seeing it now. But the fact that you have to have a pay-per-view called Evolution to showcase nothing but women, and did the worst out of all their, or actually, I'm sorry, I take that back, did better than what they were expecting on buys and on streams when it was on the WWE network, shows that there's a place for it.
I know we have a quote from Natalia Markova, but she personally told me that she prefers to wrestle when other men are on the show. She doesn't want to be on just the all women show because she wants to showcase her talent better. Like, if it's just all women, you can't do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's her quote: "Stereotypes will never hold me back. I like to break stereotypes and show that each person is an individual." And I mean, that's very true. I mean, there are women who are, here's the thing
let me just say this. It's not for Natalia. She's battling a twofold because she's Russian.
Yeah.
And she's a woman, but the Russian thing really hurts her because if there's a Russian already on, say, AEW, they don't want her.
Yeah.
If there's a Russian on another, they don't want two Russian women.
No.
It's like, we already got our token Russian, right?
We already got our commie, damn it.
Yeah, like it's and that's just the brutality of stereotypes. It's like, what does Russian have to do with it if you can go?
Yeah. And how much longer do you think it's going to be before We see a Russian bombshell come on WWE that looks a lot like, probably going to look a lot like Natalia Markova, because they're going to play off the war and how much America hates Russia, and that's,
I
we'll
hope
get
they
into
don't. I hope they leave that the fuck alone.
it's Vince, probably not. He
Oh,
keeps
man,
his
I
thumb
hope
on the
they don't.
current events.
I hope they don't.
So let's move over to
It's cash.
What's that, Eric Bischoff?
So let's talk about LGBTQ. It's such a horrible stereotype. It's been that way for years. The questionable, is he or isn't he gay? The way that trans wrestlers are treated. For men, when they're committed to the gay gimmick, they're very overly feminine, very flamboyant. Women are tend to made to look butch and like a trucker. So let's talk about this stereotype for the LGBT.
So I have a question for
BQ.
Dallas. What did you think of how Impact and WWE were booking Orlando Jordan?
Yeah.
I didn't watch Impact at the time, so I don't really know like how they did the Orlando Jordan gimmick. But in WWE, they didn't like book him as like a gay character, did he? Did they?
Well, they kind of had Cena make fun of him in raps as well. They kind of did it behind the scenes, sort of like a window to what's going on.
I just know that he was underused in WWE, but he has so much potential. He could have been more. It's sad.
In Impact, they really over sexualized him, as the gay sort of character, and just really really over the top.
Kind of like how they did with Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and this goes back decades. Gorgeous George is probably the very first one that was portrayed to be not straight, with the perfume and the flowing blonde hair and the feather boa, flaunting into the arena, flaunting into the ring, and trying to kiss his opponent drove fans absolutely insane. So much so people have tried to stab him. They try to beat him up in the crowd. And this is in the 40s and the 50s. I mean, this is years ago.
So my first awareness of this was in the 80s with Adrian Adonis.
Yeah.
And the flower shop, and I was like, and he was gay. He was gay to be a villain.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gay, you're a villain.
Yeah. You're a heel.
They just made him this over the top feminine character. And Adrian did an amazing job on it. But I think people even came out as gay because of Adrian, which is the craziest thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Despite the horribleness of the gimmick that the times and everything, it still had its goodness out of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like in the middle on it, because when I see like a gay wrestler and his gimmick is also gay, like he has to like make it more extravagant, like really emphasize on the gayness, and that turns fans off, and it's kind of an embarrassment to me. Like, let the wrestler wrestle like to their full potential, and let them do what gimmick they want to do. Like, let them be happy. Don't force them to be something that they're not.
So next you had Gold Dust come along, and that was the next sort of iteration of the Adrian Adonis character. Gold Dust, and just over sexualizing, rubbing his body, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And And then,
Which
then
is
you would
funny
have,
because he's a big redneck Texas hick. I mean,
yeah,
there's no two ways to put about it. He's a big redneck son of a bitch from Texas, and to act androgynous and over femme. Billy and Chuck was another one. I
Rico.
mean, yeah, I mean that
I don't know.
was
Was Rico?
another
Was Rico? I don't remember if he was as well.
who.
He wasn't gay, but he
Rico?
played like a flamboyant
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, every gay man in wrestling is portrayed like Elton John with these extravagant outfits and this over the top entrance, and it's just that's not it. I mean, you look at guys like Effie, who I think is doing phenomenal work on the independent scene
Mm-hmm.
and is very openly gay. He does not hide it. He came out very early in his career, and now that we live in a society where, marriage we have marriage equality, we have, some states are passing horrid anti-gay laws, but, we're in a society where, pioneers like Harvey Milk and so many others that have laid their lives down to get equality for LGBTQ, is finally paying off, and we're getting guys like Effie Nyla Rose is another one. She's trans, but you still get that hate. That guy that was at Dynamite that had the sign that said Nyla Rose is your baby's daddy. He got escorted. He got kicked out. I mean, Tony Khan had him.
I want to applaud AEW for the way they've handled LGBTQ.
Yeah.
Just like everything, it's not. You don't want to advertise. Hey, look, we got the first trans wrestler in the like.
Yeah.
WWE would be all over that, saying,
Oh, yeah.
"Look at we got the first trans wrestler." Like, no, she's just a person.
Yeah.
And they got a few gay people in AEW, and it's not a thing. It's just their people wrestling.
Yeah.
And I applaud them for that.
And just let them wrestle. I don't care if the two guys that are in there are, lovers in real life. I don't care. I don't care if she's trans. I don't care if she's a lesbian. I don't care if he's queer, non-binary. I don't care. I just want 2 people, 4 people, 6 people in a ring beating the hell out of each other, telling a good story with their emotions, with their moves, and with their promos. That's what I want. That's what I care about. I don't give a flip less what you do behind the scenes. It does not bother me in the least. Everybody loves
I actually want to see him.
Yeah. So let's talk about Canadians.
This will be a short one. I think that for main problem was French Canadians.
Yeah.
Is they made the French Canadians a little bit evil. And, and that just goes straight to what Joseph said earlier, was the evil foreigner.
Yeah. Yeah, the Rougeaus are a perfect example. I mean, those guys were 2 great wrestlers, and if they wrestled in Canada, specifically in Quebec, they were over like Rover. As soon as they went anywhere else, they were the French Canadians. They spoke French. They had funny accents. Screw them, and they were natural heels, which shouldn't have been, because I think they could have wrestled this face and been as successful, probably a little bit more successful.
We'll say with Dino Bravo, he was so over, in Quebec, but anywhere else, he's a heel.
Yeah, well, he's in the mafia too.
But let's talk about the other foreigners, right?
Well, let's talk about Asians. I mean, the Japanese, specifically, they're seen as foreign invaders. They're overly stereotyped. Ninjas, samurai warriors, etc. It's horrible and all over the place. You're getting to the point now with like wrestlers like Xia Li are showcasing. Yeah, she's great at martial arts. She has a martial arts background. She does martial arts in her promos, in her entrance. It's great, but Mr. Fuji is a perfect example. He looked like every Asian henchmen
Totally.
in every spy movie ever created.
It looked like he came out of a James Bond movie.
Yeah, he looked like he looked like what was his name? The guy with the hat. Oh, we'll get to Trust us, Joe. We'll get to that just as good too. But for Asians, I mean, it's like Naka. What was it? What was his name?
Nakamori.
The guy that kept running around in a ninja outfit with the 24/7 championship.
Akira Tozawa.
That's it. Again, watch his stuff in Japan. Brilliant, great wrestler. Here, it's comedic. He's the funny guy. He's the Jerry Lewis to the straight man. Drew Gulak or whoever.
Even Tajiri, he could have got way over more than he did if he wasn't Asian.
Yeah,
they just typecast him.
And perfect example. I mean, in all honesty, perfect example is Kenji Muto, otherwise known as the Great Muta. So when he came overseas, they put him in makeup. They gave him the Great Muta gimmick. He spit the poison mist. He had the kanji paint on his face. And then when he wrestled back, it was very rare you ever saw the Great Muta in Japan. It was for bigger matches, but for the most part, you watch. But he took that back. He took that horrible "I'm going to wear face paint" gimmick and made it his own when he was the Great Muta overseas in Japan or in Japan or in Europe, wherever he wrestled. If it was a big important match, and the crowd loves the Great Muta, but Kenji Muto is a great wrestler, and it's too bad that he wasn't introduced that way. Ultimo Dragon was completely underused. The
thing about Vince in WWE was, if you can't talk English and talk English well and fluently, that you're not going to get over anywhere.
Yeah,
because people want to see who you really are, and I think even the Intercontinental Champion right now, he's reached as far as he'll ever go in WWE.
Oh, you talk about Shinsuke Nakamura?
Yeah. Sorry, the name just escaped me.
Yeah, he's champ.
Yeah, and I mean, you have Shinsuke, and then you have Asuka, and both of them speak very small amount of English. Credit to them for learning our language, which they shouldn't have to. They should come in with pure wrestling talent, because before Shinsuke came to WWE, Shinsuke was probably one of the best pure striking wrestlers in the world. There was not anybody even close, maybe Shibata, but nobody struck or sold a punch better than Shinsuke Nakamura. He comes to the States, and it's funny because the first thing I said to my wife and the first thing I said to some of my friends is, watch, they are going to bury his ass when he gets to the main roster. And they did a good job with him in NXT. Hikaru Shida felt the same way too. Absolutely. And then, I mean, Nakamura went to the main roster and they just buried him. And, they made him the Intercontinental Champion. And I guarantee you that Vince only gave him the Intercontinental Championship because he was an Intercontinental Champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that I put a house payment on that right there.
What do we got next?
Let's talk about Arabs, the Arabic terrorists.
I love
Undertaker bit that was canceled, and they were kicked out of WWE after. It wasn't his fault either.
Yeah, it was the London bombings and Hassan. Yeah, the London bombings happened.
Yeah,
just coincided with him being a terrorist, and that's a guy who 100% was one of the best wrestlers in that time frame in the world. I mean, Daivari,
he was killing it.
Yeah, you have the Indians and the Hindus, with the Punjabi prison matches, and they all have this weird way of talking, and it really is sad because I have a lot of friends, and a few of them are Muslim, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful religion that is exactly like Christianity. The only difference is Muhammad and Christ. That's the only difference between who the Savior is. The same God. And,
let's not get into that now.
yeah, but that's they're portrayed as these over the top jihadists, and I think it's horrible. Let's talk about
Well,
the
even with gender, he was being used to get over in India.
Yeah,
and they're playing him as this, this mighty Indian character.
yeah,
Meanwhile, he's from Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
yeah.
He's not born in India. He's Canadian.
Now, is it true that's the reason why you don't like him, because he's from Calgary?
That is not true at all. I do not hinder gender.
Yeah, I think the thing you'll find most of all is these foreign that a lot of these foreign wrestlers are not foreign. In the 80s, majority of your so-called Russian wrestlers were not from Russia.
No.
Most of them were from America or Canada, but they played the gimmick, because that's what
Nikolai Volkov was some sort of European, but he wasn't.
He was Eastern European, but he was not from Russia. A lot of them were not Russian, and you play the gimmick, and Hassan was not
from Detroit.
He was not Islamic, and so but you Vince forces these gimmicks on you. You have to portray a character like this, and it's an ugly stereotype.
Yokozuna is the perfect example.
Yeah.
We forgot about him in the Japanese part.
Yeah, well, talk about appropriation of a culture.
Oh, brutal, right?
There it is right there. Yokozuna is in fact Samoan, 100% Samoan. He is from the Inouye family, one of the greatest wrestling families of all time. And, he was not Japanese, but Mr. Fuji, and they got his hair in the bun, and, Rodney is his real name. Rodney Outnoy is his real name. He's not Japanese.
It was years before I found that out, though.
Yeah. I didn't know either until somebody brought up that, and when I was talking to my friend, this is right when Yokozuna was in the middle of right at the peak of his popularity, showed me a video of him wrestling as a Samoan in Samoan tights in WWE, and they took him away, repackaged him, and brought him as Yokozuna. But that's cultural appropriation, especially for foreign wrestlers, is huge. And I mean, let's get to the big one too. Let's talk about the African American.
I want to say that the most bullshit name of any African American tag team, Crime Time.
Yeah.
Like you're making them all thugs. You're making them, even call them Crime Time. You guys are gonna be whipping people off. You're no good.
Yeah. I mean, in the 80s, they were savages from Africa. You had
Kamala.
Yeah, Kamala, the Ugandan giant. You had these.
I think they did that with Tony Atlas as well.
They did it with Tony Atlas. They did it with Farouk. They did it with a lot of people, but they were always portrayed as either street thugs or gang members. And
the old Nation of Domination at one point was just a black gang.
Yeah. Which was funny because while they were hyping them as kind of like a Black Panthers, you had the DOA, which was a biker gang. And, there's a well-known connection between governments and hiring biker gangs to take out Black Panther sells. So I mean, then you also have appropriation. For example, Akeem the Dream was one man gang. That guy was as white as white could get.
That is so cringe, having a white guy playing this African, like, whoa.
And you still see here's the thing, we're in 2022 and we're still getting firsts for African Americans, so for guys like Rocky Johnson and Butch Reed, for guys like for those two guys who were the first champions in WWE of color, now, I mean, it's, you've had 3 successful African American heavyweight champions, Kofi Kingston, Big E, Bobby Lashley, but we're still doing firsts, and it's irritating because this should not be a thing we celebrate. This should be something we need to solve.
I think that. Go ahead, Dallas.
I would like to see Velveteen Dream become the world champion, but we're not gonna get there.
Velveteen Dream isn't gonna wrestle for a long time. That's just not gonna happen. There's a difference. I mean, we can get into that. That's a whole entire.
Let's just pass on this whole topic.
Yeah, that's a different episode.
That's a different episode. But like, I remember seeing Hakeem when I was a kid, and I was like, "What? Who thought this was a good idea?" Even as a kid, I thought it was a horrible idea. You got this badass one-man gang, and you want to make him Mother Africa or Father Africa? I don't know. Such a bad.
And he came in a dashiki. They built him from South Africa, which at that time was going through horrible apartheid war. And
it South Africa he was from?
Yeah, they built him from South Africa.
Oh,
yeah, Akeem the Dream, Akeem the.
I think about it, Kamala from deepest, darkest Africa.
Yeah,
how racist is that?
Oh yeah.
Like deepest dark, like they're really dark down there.
Holy. Well, and here's the thing too. You look at Dusty Rhodes, which is a whole episode onto its own. Not only did they humiliate Dusty by making him wear polka dots, but his ring manager was a black woman named Sapphire, which has horrible slave connotations connected to it.
The name Sapphire?
Yeah, his name Sapphire is a term that a lot of slave owners use for the women who would work in the house. So it, Vince,
like you had guys that were over like crazy, like Junkyard Dog.
Yeah.
But did he get a shot at any championship in WWE? The crowd would go nuts when JYD would come out, but nothing, not one single push. He's just like, you're gonna go out there, boy. You're gonna do your thing, and
and they put him in a dog champion. What's that?
He was never Intercontinental champion.
Mm-mm.
He never won anything. No tag. No nothing.
He was a friend of Hulk Hogan's on the air. He was one of Hulk's friends, which was odd because he had his own action figure, which a lot of wrestlers.
I had that one.
He had his own merchandise. Look at Coco Beware. Look at Kofi Kingston. Thank you, Joseph Graham. Yeah, Kofi Kingston. Number one, Kofi Kingston, the person was born in Ghana, moved to the U.S. when he was 10. He's from Boston, Massachusetts, ladies and gentlemen. He is a Boston native. That's why I love Kofi. But they
KFB, Kofi from Boston.
Yeah, but they gave him Kofi Kingston because he had dreads. They made him Jamaican and made him talk in a Jamaican accent. And nobody will ever forget the shoot between him and Triple H when he dropped his Jamaican accent and Triple H, Triple H Levesque goes, what happened to your accent? And that's I mean,
that was funny. I'm glad they did.
That was funny, yeah. But you have black athletes that are not celebrated for the individual of who they are. But I think Vince pushes them because he says to himself, I'm furthering the cause for people of color by doing this, you know?
Now, here's another problem we run into: making black people champions because they're black.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We don't want to do that. We want to take the best black wrestlers and make them champions because they fit the mold,
Yeah.
not because they're black, but because they are awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, it comes down to one thing, and that's talent. And whether you have the talent or you don't have the talent, whether you deserve to be in the ring and be the champion, whether you don't deserve to be in the ring and be a champion, it's all going to come down to booking, and it's going to come down to the booker and whoever's booking creative for that promotion, be it Tony Khan or be it Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard, be it Billy Corgan at NWA. I don't know who books for Sinclair Ring of Honor, but I mean, it comes down to that. And what we need to do is get bookers and creative who are open to Xavier Woods for champion. I wouldn't mind that at all. Not in the least. I think Xavier Woods
he's
is well
reached
overdue.
his peak with that King thing. I don't think it's going any further than that.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true. But I mean, that's the key. The key is to start booking guys based off of their talent, what they can do in and out of the ring. Is it going to change when Vince eventually either relinquishes power or God forbid he passes away? I don't think it's going to change because leadership that's installed is installed specifically to run the company like Vince ran it. And they're not going to change how that goes. So,
I watched him the other day, and it said something about it was from Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy said that Vince told him to team up with Mark Henry and talk like a black person.
I did read that. I saw that. I was going to put that in my news. Where I was like, we'll talk about it when this. Yeah, I mean, Vince is old school, and for good or for bad, it's more for bad than for good. But Vince, you can't sit here and say, oh, he's just he's an outcome of the times and of that era, and so that doesn't float or fly. I've always been taught from my mom and dad that you treat everyone equal regardless of who they are, the color of skin, but you fight for those people's rights too, because they don't have those rights. And you need to fight for that. And that's all. I've done that, and can I do more? Absolutely.
And I think we can talk a little bit about this white privilege. As a wrestler, being white, you have white privilege.
You do.
And we can't ignore that in wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, either you acknowledge the fact that white privilege exists or you don't, and if you don't, you're being ignorant about it. If you acknowledge the fact that as a white male, and especially a white cis male, I don't have to worry about the cops pulling me over and shooting me because I'm black, because I'm white. It just doesn't happen. Now, I mean, if I committed a felony and I'm on the lam and they're trying to take me down, then yeah, I expect a hail of gunfire. But for the most part, traffic stop is a traffic stop. But I've been in my friends' homes when their parents had that talk. When I have a very good friend who's black. His name was Greg, and I was at his house for Sunday dinner, and I remember his dad giving him the talk at 14 that when you're getting ready to drive and you get pulled over, you put your hands up and you do not move unless the officer instructs. You don't wear a hoodie. You don't do. These are the things that black parents
and a white person never has to have that talk with their parents.
Never had that talk with my mom and dad.
And a lot of us, like, this is new information for me in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's eye-opening, and it's cool that we're having these conversations.
Yeah. They need to be had. I mean, they need to be had because wrestling is an output of what's happening in society today. It is a direct reflection of what's happening in the world as we speak. we're at war with Afghanistan and Iraq and Iran. Well, sure enough, you're going to get that evil foreigner from that area, because for American audiences, that's who they want to root for. And the overly patriotic white males.
So we'll see if they use this Russian thing against the Ukraine. I hope they don't, and I hope that they've learned. I know AEW won't touch it. I know they won't.
No,
But-
AW won't, because
But
they're not
I could
kitschy.
see, I could see WWE using it.
It'd be really bad press, though.
I totally would. Yeah.
It could like start more problems for the country.
Yeah. Well, I think we hit the nail on the head. I mean, we left off a couple people like the Latinos and, stuff like that. But I mean, guys like Los Bawaquas, I mean, they were horribly ham-fisted in portraying a Puerto Rican gang.
The Guerreros.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie Guerrero, I don't know, because he never really publicly talked about it, but who knows if he liked coming in on a lowrider and portraying Latinos in that way, because to me, Eddie Guerrero is probably one of the greatest. He's on my Mount Rushmore of wrestling, of wrestlers. And I mean, he was portrayed as a Latino hustler and a Latino gang member. So, but I think we hit the nail. I think we did pretty good. Ran a little long, but you know what? It's a conversation that we need to have. And, I implore you to go out there and have those discussions with your friends, and your fellow wrestling fans, and, guys that are not from your gender or from your sexuality or even from your race. Go and have those discussions and talk to them and ask them, because
The one shirt where we want to get done in the next year or so, we want the AFW logo.
Yeah.
And we want to have all the different flags, from handicap to Special Olympics, Canada, all the flags of the world, Black Lives Matter. And we want to have that all in the AFW logo. And we want to say wrestling is for everyone, which, because it is.
It is, absolutely.
We wanted to really, really be for everyone, where you see someone that looks like you as the champion.
Absolutely.
And not just for white people.
Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for wrestling, I would never met Canada Dry. I would never antagonize and drive Dally crazy week after week after week. I wouldn't have met Liam, and, I've met a lot of people from a lot of different places with a lot of different philosophies, all because of wrestling. And that's the greatest thing in the world. I'm a filmmaker, and I have a film world that I exist in on my work days. And then, some of them are wrestling fans, and I didn't know. And I just mentioned wrestling and we talked for hours. But some of my closest friends are wrestling fans, and they are wrestling fans for a good reason, because it shines a light on what's happening in the world today, and everything that's good and everything that's bad. Man, Spam Demand, come on in and, rewatch it. Listen to us on Monday. We'll go through our rigmarole in a few minutes, but thank you guys for tuning in and watching. Especially want to thank
before you finish up here, I just want to say, sorry to cut you off. I'll let you finish up in a second.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, our original co-host was Lewis, and we just want to give a shout out to you. Thank you for being a part of the podcast and being part of our history since our 1-year anniversary. So go ahead.
Brick City L, baby. Brick City L. That guy can spit a rhyme like there is no freaking tomorrow. It is unbelievable. So, thank you for tuning in. You can find us on YouTube. Click and subscribe. You'll get to watch us live. You can comment. You can interact with us while we're doing our talks. Dally, what's going on in your world? You want anything to promote anything?
I run a prediction league called AFW, and it's a lot of fun where you predict against each other, and you can win championships. You can do promos on each other, and just have fun chatting about wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So come on down.
The message board gets kind of crazy at times, but yeah.
Come on down to our AFW prediction page.
Yeah, you can go to our website, fnwrestling.com. From there, you can see all our social media. You can go to the AFW page. You can look at who's got points, who's got championships, and there's links there to connect to us on Facebook and get into the league. Come on in, drop promos, make predictions. What else you got to do? It makes Wednesday night more exciting, or for me, Thursday, because I don't watch it on Wednesday night. I always wait till the morning so I can zip through the commercials. But it makes Wednesday night more exciting because you're like, ooh, I picked this match. Let's see what's going to happen. And you start comparing scores and you start wondering if your opponent picked this person. But that's where you need to go. FNWrestling.com FNWrestling.com. Go to our social media links. We are a t-shirt company that happens to do a podcast. I'm not kidding. We got like 15,000 shirts in the shirt department. I am wearing one, the Touch Brothers, FN Wrestling. Dally, are you going to come up with your own shirt at some point?
Aaron's trying, but I'm just not satisfied on the designs.
I'll get you there, buddy. I'll get you there.
We should take an outline of Ohio and put a big star in the middle and call it Dallas.
I don't even like Ohio.
I know who does? But you can find us on ProWrestlingTees.com/FN Wrestling. You can get all the shirts that are on there. You can get the Canada Dry shirt, the Owen Hart tribute shirt. That's, you can go. Happy 1-year birthday to us. Next week, I don't know what we're going to do next week.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we're going to take the dartboard at the FN Wrestling Worldwide Media Studios, located in parts unknown.
We do know what we're doing.
Oh, would you?
The AEW prediction show, and we got Coop on the show.
That's right. We got Coop on the show. So AEW prediction show. We're going to have the Cooper. That man is a baseball nut, but yeah, we're going to predict. We're going to predict Revolution is what we're predicting.
Yeah. And he's going to be my opponent.
And he's going to be your opponent. So you might get some inside baseball, my friend, as to whether or not, your picks are aligning with what he picks. He may throw a swerve at you. That's where you go. FNWrestling.com or ProWrestlingTees.com/FN As always, it is a pleasure being here and serving you with mediocrity and just a lot of hilariousness and shenanigans. Hilariousness and shenanigans. So for the JFB and for Canada Dry. Oh, speaking of which.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about inclusion and Hulk Hogan, obviously kind of a racist. Did you try to get a quote from him at all?
Okay, so I stayed away from the racist stuff. Everyone deserves a second chance.
Sure.
So I was talking to him. He's like, hey, brother, can you put me down as the American stereotype brother waving the flag? Can you put me down for that, brother? And I said, well, Hulk Hogan, it's not really about white people. He's like, well, why not, brother? And he got all upset. He hung up on me. And so that's FN Wrestling 29, Hulk Hogan 0, Canada Dry.
This has been an FN Worldwide Media production. You can find us on Twitter at AllFN Wrestling or at FN Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook at Facebook.com/FN Wrestling. After that, why don't you go ahead and throw a T on your back? You can find us on the Pro Wrestling Tee store at ProWrestlingTees.com/FN Wrestling. You can find all this at our new website, FNWrestling.com. And as always, have a great effing day.